Have you ever wondered, with all the information of health and healing that's out there, what are the most important things to focus on first? Hi, I'm Gitte Lassen, and I'd like to tell you about the four cornerstones of real health. So, you may wonder about who I am and why you should listen to me. Well, I used to have great health, but 15 years ago I lost it, and I lost it so completely I ended up on welfare for several years. My doctor at that time told me that there was nothing Western medicine could do to help me. They couldn't even figure out what was wrong with me. So I, like so many others, turned to natural medicine for help and eventually found my way back to full health. And 8 years ago, together with Lilia, I opened the School for Helsemestring, which is with its origin here in Iceland where I live and where you can see the video was taken from. Which is a school that combines natural medicine with personal transformation. And now, if you would like to join me as I go back into my computer, I'll get started on telling you about the four cornerstones of real health. Okay, so here we are, ready to take a look at the four cornerstones of real health. I learned that real health, health that stays around, rests on a foundation of four cornerstones. Not doing either one of these increases the risk of health problems or makes it harder for you to get back the health you've lost. And what might surprise you is how much two of them are never really talked about. The first cornerstone is food. I'm sure this doesn't come as a surprise to you at all. It is difficult in this day and age not to know this. But I promise you, I will not be repeating here what other people have already said so well. Instead, I want to approach the issue of what is healthy food from a different angle. A long time ago, Hippocrates, the acknowledged father of medicine, said, "Let food be thy medicine and medicine thy food." So how does this work? It's really rather simple. The body is a food body. Think of the body as a chemical factory. The factory won't give you the high quality products if you don't put the right raw materials into it. The raw materials are the foods you eat. The factory itself is your metabolism, and the products are your health. There's a direct relationship between what you put into the factory, your food, and the products that comes out of it, your health. To understand what the highest quality raw materials are, we need to think back a million years or so, back to when human beings started evolving. Throughout all that million years or more, human beings have been an intrinsic part of nature, like any other animal, like any plant, living of nature, living in nature, evolving with nature. There was nothing that was not nature. Even after humans started cooking the food, it was still pure nature. One way we recommend in Skole for Helsemestring to get some good quality nature into your body is by making yourself green smoothies and drinking them. Right here below the video is a link that, if you click on it, will take you to a collection of some of our favorite green smoothie recipes for restoring and maintaining health. The recipes were created by the teachers and students of the school. We hope you enjoy the different sea green smoothies we'll make in your life. So back to what is healthy food. It is only a little more than 100 years ago that processed factory-produced food, or as I like to call it, chemicals masquerading as food, started appearing. 100 years is not enough time for human beings to evolve and adapt on a genetic level for our metabolism to be able to produce real health on that kind of raw materials. We talk in Skole for Helsemestring about low quality foods. I'm sure you can guess what they are, but basically anything processed and deprived of natural nutrients or, quote unquote, enhanced with chemicals. To eat food that would help you regain and maintain health means returning to your evolutionary roots, namely pure nature. It means eating mostly organic, mostly plants, and always whole food. Like many other people in the world, we have seen great health improvements when people switch to high quality food that includes a high percentage of raw, uncooked plant foods on a daily basis. The second cornerstone is water, as in drinking water. Some years ago I became interested in this and did quite a lot of research on it. Some of the research showed that most Western people are chronically dehydrated, some by not drinking enough water, but others because what they drink might be diuretic or only hydrate the body a little bit. Other research showed me that many health problems were associated with dehydration. I'd like to tell you a story about what a difference increased water intake can make. One of our students called me one day. She was probably in her second or third year of the school at that time. She wanted to get some advice because she kept struggling with health problems in spite of all the healing food she was eating, the herbs she was taking, and everything else she was doing. Because I was in the middle of my research on drinking water, I immediately asked her how much water she was drinking. She thought for a bit and then said, "Probably half a glass each week." Once she heard herself say it out loud, she kind of got the idea that this wasn't so good. So we talked a bit about how much water she should start drinking, and soon enough, with a greatly increased water intake, all her symptoms disappeared, and I mean all. It shouldn't really come as a big surprise that water is the second cornerstone. After all, the human body is, as this expression I heard once on TV, bags of mostly water. Every single part of our body needs water to do the job well, including the brain, which according to research is rather sensitive to even slight dehydration. One of the signs of dehydration most of us are familiar with is a headache. Another common symptom is afternoon fatigue. But did you know that by just 2% dehydration, your brain starts slowing down? In effect, and I know this will sound harsh, but basically, with dehydration, you get more stupid. I know this only too well from my personal experience, and I take great care that I'm well filled up with water every day to keep my brain sharp. So how much water should you drink each day? Unfortunately, there's no one answer to that. Every single person is unique in terms of what they eat and drink and their lifestyle and body type. Here are 2 guidelines to get you started, but ultimately it's paying attention to your own body and learn what feels best for you. If your urine is dark or smelling strong, you're most likely not drinking enough water. Ideally, it should be light colored and with very little smell. If you're thirsty, well, the advice we like to give is that you should drink before you're thirsty, as thirst is a sign of dehydration. When you start increasing your water intake, it might take a while for your body to adjust. Sometimes it's also necessary to add a little bit more salt to your diet in order for your body to hold the water. I can promise you that you will learn to love how you feel when you're well hydrated, appreciating the added energy and clarity you experience. The third cornerstone is sleep. I once read in an article that stress was the main cause of illness and lack of sleep was the main cause of stress. While this is not necessarily the whole truth, it did make me think about sleep differently. It made me think about how little emphasis most Westerners put on sleep, and I asked my students in class once, how many of you think sleep is a waste of time? Every single student raised their hand. We all know how we feel less than 100% after a few nights of too little sleep. We become irritable, lose motivation and enthusiasm. Everything we have to do becomes bigger. We easier become overwhelmed. We also experience a lowered sex drive. We make poor decisions and may become depressed. Like with drinking water, sleep has been very little researched since there's not a whole lot of profit in it. But what research there is shows that sleep is more important than we would normally think to not only our physical health, but also our mental and emotional health. The first part of sleep is for restoring our body, including clearing the brain of metabolic toxins. The second part of the sleep is for sorting through what has happened during the previous day and coming to terms with it. If we wake up before this is completed, as many people do, we create mental and emotional stress for ourselves. So how much sleep is enough? That again, like water, varies from person to person. We are told 8 hours sleep is ideal, but I would pose that it depends on how deep and uninterrupted your sleep is, what your lifestyle is, what you did the day before, whether you're sick or healthy, how much stress you experience, and etc. Like with water, I encourage you to experiment with it by going to sleep early, ideally at least 1 hour before midnight, and let your body catch up on whatever sleep it may be short of. When you start waking up before the alarm clock, fully rested and ready to start the day, you know you have had enough sleep on a consistent basis. Once you catch up on any sleep debt you've accumulated, you might also find that the amount of hours you need to sleep varies from day to day. And if you end up waking up earlier than the alarm clock, well, nothing is as enjoyable as a peaceful start to the day. The last cornerstone is exercise, as in being physically active. You can find a ton of information on the effect of good exercise on health. Here I'd just like to focus on a few common sense things. The body's natural movement is walking, and I believe research has proven that walking stimulates and balances the brain's electrical signals. It is many years since I read this, but it always made sense to me in terms of how our bodies have evolved for walking effortless. What would be your ideal exercise depends on many things, like again, who you are, your body type, and your lifestyle. As a basic common sense guideline, we recommend that a daily 20-minute walk with fast breathing is a good place to start. So this is it for today. If you liked what I said, if you have liked what you have listened to today, I would invite you to put in a comment right here below the video. Or if you have a question, also put that in a comment down here and I will do the best to answer you. And then stay tuned for the next video, which will come out in a few days, where I will talk about the wise woman's approach to health and healing.